I love it. As we head into the dead period of recruiting, which we'll talk about, Coach Prime likes to put the pedal to the metal. Number one linebacker. Okay. Getting some juice in. Let's talk about it. Let's roll the intro. Let's see where this is headed. I'm liking it. Tyler Atkins, 6'2", 205, number one rated linebacker in the country. Right now he's a 4-star. Take some time for these guys to get 5 stars. Okay. Here he is having a one-on-one call with, of course, Coach Prime. And here's what Atkins had to say from their interview. Coach Prime and I spent some time talking on Zoom. He said, Coach Prime told me the only high school players that he recruits are those that are real dogs, that are ready to play at next level and serious about their path like myself. Otherwise, he's recruiting the portal. He wants to know that they're coming. He's going to be intentional with my recruitment, and he wants to make sure everything fits like a key to a lock. His energy is contagious and really sparked my interest to get out to Boulder this spring. Obviously, spring game's coming up, April 19th coming up. I mean, it'll be here before you know it. But we've talked about this. We've heard this isn't new news, right? About Coach Prime having an agenda in the recruiting world, right? Hey, we're going to recruit, but if we recruit you, the mindset, the intentions are to be an impact player the moment you step foot on campus. We're not going to play any games. And here's where I kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit more. We alluded to it a couple episodes ago, and it kind of probably got lost in the wash a little bit. But come June, they're rolling out a new rule where the Big 12, right, and all conferences alike will be able to get a revenue share from whatever the conference brings in. So let's just say total revenue is X. Colorado and other Big 12 teams will get a percentage of that, okay? The idea of it, the numbers that are being projected, the Big 10, the SEC, which are the bigger revenue-generating conferences, are looking on the 20 to 22 million range, so maybe Big 12 floats in that 15 to 16. Look, I think they're right there in that third category. I put them above the ACC. Personally, I think the talent that is in the Big 12, I think they bring a lot of excitement for football. The ACC is just boring football, in my opinion. They've got some good teams. They're getting, I think Syracuse and SMU bring a lot of value to the ACC outside of the kind of the major blue bloods like FSU kind of have a tremendous fall off this past year. Clemson kind of came back and found a little bit of a resurgence. Miami, they're always wishy-washy, so we'll see. But I think Syracuse and SMU really bring in some fire to the ACC. But, and we talked about this as well, too. Remember when Coach Prime was being part of these conversations for interviewing for Dallas, interviewing for the Raiders? We kind of pulled our sheet back a little bit and said, look, I think this is more of a leverage pull of how can I have a conversation like, look, we're being looked at. I'm being looked at. I want to stay here, but I need some things. I need some key pieces to make this thing work. So you got to believe they probably asked for some more assistance on there. And I think with this revenue share is going to allow for Coach Prime and the Buffs to compete at a different level because, again, their focus is always has and always will be the portal. And so recruiting, right, has always been the kind of the lower echelon. But with this revenue sharing, you got to believe they might have a little more money to spend on these big time targets. If it is 10 to 12 targets, major targets, right? Their spending on recruiting is going to be much less than everybody else. Now, it's going to be up in the spring or in the portal, but keep this in mind too. The portal looks like it's going to be evolving going into next year as well too, from the 2 windows that it's open now to just having 1 window open next year. That hasn't passed yet, but I believe it's in the works. Now, Colorado still has some work to do. I expect them to have a busy spring portal as they still have a lot of room to be rocking and rolling with. As for some, guys, we talked about this happening to teams that were in this playoff. Ohio State has been absolutely pilgrimage through, losing their OC Chip Kelly to the Raiders. They lost their DC. They lost another defensive line like assistant coach. They had 7 guys to the portal. Jeremiah Smith, verdict's still out on him. He hasn't necessarily announced that he would be coming back. I think that he will. But, I mean, there's a lot of changes in that room now. Who knows? We'll see how it all shakes up. But like seeing these conversations, like seeing Coach Prime having, an agenda for Tyler Atkins. He is from Georgia, currently favored to Georgia. Georgia does a great job at landing some of the top-tier linebackers. That defense has been the catalyst, I would say, for college football for quite some time. Had a little bit of a down year this past year, but he's not shy and is not unknown of pulling talent out of Georgia right out of Smart's backyard. So this one we'll continue to monitor. Look, the dead period's happening right now, so coaches can still call and have conversations, but in regards to visiting and having them visit, you can't do any of that until March. So nice little kind of a refresher. That's why you're seeing a lot of these top 5s be dropped for these kids. They did a lot of scouting this. I mean, they've been doing it obviously for the last couple of months, but they really went heavy this last month in January, and they'll really start to take some serious visits, obviously for the spring game, and then probably big June visits, and then we'll start seeing these commits drop. We saw a lot of guys commit early on last year and basically be good to go before the season even started. Again, recruiting has making a massive shift forward, and they're even talking about moving the signing day up to July, which would really move this season up further than it is now. So we'll continue, guys, keep you updated throughout this entire time. Even though it is a quiet period, what will be happening is a lot of events will be happening this month. So there'll be plenty of conversations from recruiting sites to these recruits and getting feedback from them on who their top five is, where they feel comfortable with, who are they eyeing. Of course, if Colorado's name gets dropped or talked about, we will be talking about it. So smash the like button, subscribe. And of course, the show is brought to you by BetUS. We've been powered by BetUS all season long. You know what's coming up here in just a few days. The Super Bowl is happening. The last big hoorah in regards to football. Now, March Madness is right around the corner, and I love getting in on March Madness action. Even if you don't watch all the games, it doesn't matter. Have some fun with it. But the big one, there's nothing I love more than betting on the Super Bowl, whether it's the Gatorade color, whether it's how long the national anthem is going to last, who's going to cry first, who are they going to show first. Yeah, I get down to the nitty gritty. Basically, like when they start singing the national anthem, which head coach do they show first? Like those make my day. Like that's what wakes me up in the morning on Super Bowl Sunday is what Gatorade color is it going to be? What coach is going to cry? How long? I mean, that is heads or tails, first coin flip. That's the reason why we wake up in the morning, all right? So let me know your thoughts. Give me a Gatorade color down there below, okay? But be sure to check out betus.com. Use the code YouTube150. Get back 150% on your first deposit, then 125 on your next two when you use the code YouTube150 at betus.com. Y'all be good. Smash the like button. I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love, baby.